Hey, here we go. All right, I think everything is working well today. It looks like everything connected and energy is flowing well. Welcome, everybody. Dr. Darryl, we are in this week's mentorship class for Energy Mastery Mentorship. I got to get used to saying that because I haven't been saying it long enough that it just rolls off my tongue. Energy Mastery Mentorship. But we're here to talk about everything energy, AO scanner, quantum wellness portal, energy healing, energy medicine, or really anything that you care to talk about dealing with natural health. I'm not here to diagnose anything. I am not here to replace your medical doctor. If you feel like you need medical advice, I am not the one to get it from. But I'll give you the benefit of my experience from the standpoint of frequency. So I want to welcome everybody who's in our actual virtual classroom. We have some people that are peeking in over on YouTube. People who are peeking in on YouTube, if you got that email, you will see that that link, whatever link got you there, that link will still be available when we're all done so that you can go back and watch that. For those of you who are inside of our membership, I want to clear up something for you. You may have gotten an email that talked about a training that I'll be doing at Day of Discovery, and I'm going to be talking about that tonight. But some people, I think, thought that the tickets were not on sale yet, and they are. For the first 2 days, they are exclusively to the people who are inside of our mentorship. And so you have exclusive access to grab them and at a discount. And then tomorrow, the doors open to the larger public to sign up. And when the doors open up to the larger public, they will be, for those people, $95 for 1 week. And then they're going to go to the regular price, which will be $150 or $149, I think. $149 or $150 right up into that day. But I am excited because people have been asking for live training for a while. And I'm excited to be able to do that. We had to pull it together last minute, so it took a lot of effort. But we got all of the details worked out. And I know that many of you are staying at the host hotel, and we'll actually be doing it in the conference center at the actual host hotel. So those of you who are staying there, you won't have to go far. You'll just come downstairs on that Thursday, and we will be going from 2 until about 7. You all know when I start talking, or if you start asking questions, it's going to be difficult for me to stop at that point. But that's the goal. And that's the plan. And I'll be talking about that in just a bit. So in tonight's class, I always like to start out with something dealing with energy as a little short talk. And then you all can raise your hands. Those of you who are in the classroom, you can raise your hands and I'll call on you, or you can type your question in the chat. If you type your question in the chat, because it looks like the room is filling up, you might want to type the letters QQ first, because I can isolate those comments and pull them in a whole lot easier. If you're going to type your question, make it a short question. If you have something longer than a sentence, 2 max, then I need you to raise your hand and physically come in. You can either turn on your camera and raise your hand or go down to reactions. But I want to have a brief fireside chat with everybody that's watching. And I want to talk to you about expectations and managing expectations when it comes to frequency. This came about because of a client that I have. And this particular client was getting a little discouraged because they informed me that, well, I see clients for a host of different things. And this particular client does have the AO scanner. I know a lot of people in our mentorship have the AO scanner. I guess everybody who will be attending the live training will have the AO scanner because that's actually a Solex event that we're going to be doing this in front of. And they were telling me that it's difficult to look at the scans and it's difficult to look at the numbers and you're able to tell that whether or not you're getting better. Now, as a practitioner, I look at these numbers all day long, so they don't really faze me, but I had to step outside of my reality and look into it from a different perspective. I'm somebody who only is seeing their own numbers. They can only look at what is coming up for them. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, AL scanner is a biofeedback device. We do have people in our mentorship that have no concept of the AL scanner. But it's a biofeedback device where you're looking at frequencies that are resonating in the body or not resonating in the body. And so people are looking at it, either they're looking at it from red and green. Green means it's in balance. Red means it's out of balance. Or they're looking at it from the numerical standpoint where they're able to see how far out of balance it is if it's not a perfect green. Nobody focuses on the green. They just don't. People are only focused on what is out of balance, and they usually think that they're dying after looking at it a couple of times, right? And so if you're looking at it from that perspective, especially if you're doing what's known as an easy scan, you're only looking at what's out of balance. And when we start looking at frequencies being out of balance, so often I hear people asking, well, what does it mean when this shows up? And what does it mean when that shows up? And I am always quick to tell them it doesn't really mean anything, especially if it's the first time. If your body is constantly showing you that a frequency is out of balance, that's when we need to look a little bit further. If your body is physically showing signs of being out of balance, meaning you are feeling heart palpitations, your head is hurting, your back is hurting, your leg is hurting, you're nauseous, your hormones are raging. If that's the case, then these numbers, even on the first time, might give you some clue about what's going on, especially if you're in the middle of it. But if that's not the case, if you're not physically manifesting a symptom, then a frequency being out of balance only means that at this time it can't resonate. So let me give you a real world example of that. If you have some sort of a party, your kids had a big party, and I came into your home after that, and I'm looking at garbage in one room, and I'm looking at toys in another room, and I'm looking at pizza on the floor or spills. It's the first time I walked in the house. If I made an assessment of the cleanliness of your home based off of that one visit, that would be a little ironic. It might be a little bit crazy, and it wouldn't give an accurate description of the cleanliness of your home. But if I've been in your house 10 times, and the pizza that was on the floor in the corner, the first time I came over, it's still there. The dust on your window sill, it's still there. The ring around the toilet, it's still there. And 75% of the time that I come, there's coffee stains, soda stains on the walls. Well, now I can adequately say that your house might be in a state of disrepair, or at least chaos, because I've done it enough times to see whether or not your house is consistently that way. And the first time, if going back to the party analogy, if you started to clean it up, it would even look worse before it got better. If you're sweeping the floors, there's going to be dust in the air. It's going to be garbage pails that are filled up or garbage bags that are filled up. But what are you doing? You're moving around energies in the home, dirt, garbage, clutter. You're moving it around, and then you're taking it out. And when you do that, the energy field of the house has changed because the things that made it not resonate properly have been moved. And the thing that made it not resonate properly in the first place was an actual event that you probably got a lot of pleasure out of having. But you just didn't leave your home in that state of disrepair. So it doesn't really show what condition your home is normally in. Most of us, we work, we play, we're out all day long. If we took an assessment of our body the moment we walk back in from a hard day's work, got a lot of bacteria all over. And in certain areas, you got more bacteria than others. Most of us smell that bacteria and we get away from other people, all right? But what do? We go hop in the shower. What are we doing? We're washing the bacteria off. Is the bacteria your enemy? It is not. But if it remains on the body for an extended amount of time, it can go from not being your enemy. It could go from being the protector of your body to something that starts breaking your body down. It all has to do with managing the specific frequencies on the body, in this case, bacteria, and moving it out. But if we were to take a sample of the bacteria on your body prior to the shower, you might think you're in the middle of death. If we take another sample of the bacteria on your body right after the bath of shower, we might find none. You might actually have too little bacteria. That's going to really quickly change because bacteria comes out fast, starts multiplying, and you still will get certain levels of bacteria back on your system, but it will be different than it was before you took your shower and being out all day long. What are you doing? You're moving frequency around. You're moving things around, and your body frequency changes based off of what you're doing. When we do biofeedback scans, we're looking at frequency a moment in time. And frequency moves, frequency changes. And everything that you see that might be out of balance, no matter how horrific it sounds, it is at least showing that your body is able to give you that frequency, recognize that frequency, recognize that it might not be resonating perfectly, but you're able to still see exactly that it is there. Your brain is able to understand the frequency, understand what it is, and give you some idea whether or not it's resonating properly. If it continues to come up, then maybe we look into it a little bit more. But every frequency that is available to you at some point is out of balance. What you're looking at are the frequencies that are out of balance when you do your scan. Because there's always going to be frequencies that are out of balance. Always. If you ever run a report and everything comes back green, first of all, send it to me because I want to see that. But secondly, I'm going to suspect that there's a glitch going on because there is no time. Human nature means that there is always something that isn't resonating perfectly. There's something that isn't resonating at the perfect space that it is. So I try to get my clients to not focus on the scan, and that's a difficult thing to do, especially when we're used to looking at reports and we're used to looking at things that tell us that you have this thing and that thing. And no matter how many times you tell people that frequency does not mean that, they've been programmed by conventional medication or conventional tests to look at frequency as substance, as actual things that are happening. The reality is, if we can catch things in the frequency stage and we are resonating properly and we are optimizing in the frequency stage, it is a blessing to let all of those frequencies move around all over the place so they can get proper resonation in hope that they never move to the physical stage. And when they move to the physical stage, that's when we start addressing them with other things other than frequency. It's not to say that when things are in the physical stage that frequency can't help, because the physical stage is another manifestation of frequency. But sometimes when things get to the physical stage, we use physical things. We use herbs. We use supplements. We use neurological patches sometimes. We use modalities. We might use a terahertz wand or PEMF. These are things that are actual physical to combat physical things. And sometimes when we have biofeedback devices, we hear about these miraculous things where this person had this reaction to this and another person had this reaction. And we are looking at these things as like spontaneous healings and wondering, why is it happening with me? Reality is, when you're not used to dealing in the frequency world, the first time your body gets access to resonating frequencies, it might actually respond stronger because it's new. It's new, it's pleasing to the body. The goal, in truth, is to get your body to a point that it doesn't even respond strongly to the frequencies that you sent because it's so used to getting them that it expects them, and there is not that heightened sense of anticipation surrounding them. You all might have heard of people who are extremely poor and they don't get to eat food as often as some of us might, right? And then they get some and you see that they go at it. They're just eating and eating and eating because subconsciously they don't know when they're going to get their next meal. You don't look at that and say, oh, look, they're really appreciative. You look at that and say, I wish they didn't enjoy this meal to this point because it shows me that they're not even used to getting it. The preference would be for them to sit down, relax, and eat in a way, in a manner that their nervous system knows this isn't the last time. I'm going to get some more. And when they get to that point, you know that they have made a shift. Sometimes when we get to the point that energy isn't working as fast, it's not a sign that it's not working anymore. It's a sign that our bodies have shifted into another phase where we actually know and expect that this is coming. What time is it? I am 20 minutes into this. I'm sorry. I am very sorry. I'm going to pull back now and go into questions and answers, because this really is supposed to be your time to ask questions. But this was really on my brain today to go into that, because I have decided that one of the things that I want to do, especially for those in the mentorship, is to create, we have these spreadsheets that you can use in order to see what areas are out of balance. But I want to see whether or not I can get some things made for you all in the coming year, depending on what Solex does, because Solex might change the scanner at day of discovery in a way where I don't need to do this. But if they don't, I'm taking it upon myself to do this, to find a way for you all to know what areas are out of balance and the level of stress that it is putting on the body, and know when you are getting better. Because in truth, you don't have that right now. You could go through every marker and count the greens and count the reds and say, I got more reds than greens. But nobody is doing that. Everybody is focused specifically on the reds, and that is causing trauma that is unnecessary. For now, it would be cool if people would do their inner voice and make sure you listen to those tones and that you scan and optimize. That's what Lauren says he does. He listens to his tones every day, and he runs a scan, an easy scan, but he doesn't even look at his report because specifically he expects the optimization and the tones to help to balance everything out. All right. So that is my pep talk for today. If anybody has any questions, we can get started with our class now. You can either type it in, and I'll look and see whether or not anybody has done that. If anybody wants to come in and ask a question, go ahead and raise your hand, and we will get you in here. Hang on, Ronnie, I'm coming to you. Where's my mouse at? Oh, it's over here. All right. Ronnie, go ahead and unmute, please.
Good morning. Good
morning. Evening. How are you?
I'm sorry. Good. I'm sorry I started about 10 minutes late into your session, but when I heard you speaking, I got really interested, and I'm like, oh, now I have to go back and watch. But what I was, when you mentioned that looking into the areas of the body that are out of balance, and then putting something together that will help us. I was thinking that was quite interesting, because someone else told me recently about an app that they're putting together, and you can download your vitals and look at it. And I just had one look at it, and it was like too much, because it was just putting in what's out of balance.
Right? Can I have you pause for 1 second? I am so sorry to interrupt your flow. I just realized that there's another speaker system in here. Are you all getting feedback? Meaning, when you hear her, are you hearing her as an echo? All right. Hey, you're not? No. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Okay. Wait, you know what? Kathy says yes. Let me just do one switcheroo here, because I just want to make sure that that's not happening for everybody. I'm sorry about that. All right. For those of you who were, it should have stopped now. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. So, like I was saying, that when this is downloaded, then unlike when I was doing it on the Excel sheet, I was going and doing it methodically, which was took time. This probably took a bit less time. However, when it all gets dropped in, it's overwhelming. And I thought, well, what you were saying is that, if you can just go and listen to the scans, for example, like Lauren does, and you don't need to look at anything else. Because I spent so much time, I've spent so much time with you on your talks and done a lot of work. I have the interest. Now, if I was sending this kind of stuff to someone else, right, and they had to go through all of that without initially being able to quickly say, oh, this is out of balance, I need to do this, then there's a chance that they will not be interested and they will let go of the program. So I just wanted to confirm that I think it's really great if something, when things are put together by someone who is, say, in design, or sometimes someone at the back end of the computer, they probably don't realize, they're passionate about what they do, they don't realize that the person who is going to receive it might not understand or
Absolutely
need to utilize the whole lot. And so I feel that if it in some ways can be things can be got together. But because if somebody said to me, and it happened during COVID, where someone sent me the AO scan and said, oh, look, listen to this, and I fell in love with some of the tones, and she sent me the tones, and that's all I was left with, because I didn't understand the deeper connection, and I needed to understand it. It took me a few years to get back onto the AO scan because it wasn't explained to me. Probably the person was worried about getting in touch with me because they might frighten me off or whatever. But it's only as I got to understand it that I went, this is an amazing tool. And one of the restrictions I have, I find, in passing it forward, even though I want to know it as a business, is I'm concerned about the overwhelm that I experienced.
Yeah.
And then I make stories in my head. I hope that all makes sense.
It does. And this is the reason that when I'm working with people, if they don't already have the AL scanner, I never send them anything other than the inner voice. It's not because I'm hiding anything from them. It's because from the standpoint of working, there's not much they can do with those numbers unless they really want to start crunching them. I'm crunching them in the background, of course, and coming up with things that might help. But what they are empowered with inner voice are the tones that are going to help balance out everything that's on the scan, right? And so when you start looking through the inner voice reports, you might start seeing things that are confusing, and it might seem inner voice report is the most tame and mild. You might start seeing things that are problematic, but you get the medicine that you need in order to, you don't have to go outside of that. And you can start tracking things in the inner voice report. And then you might start adding things onto the protocol based off of what keeps coming up. But if it doesn't come back up again, or if it doesn't continuously come up, then you know that you still have the medicine. When you get a vitals and comprehensive, you don't get any medicine with that. You're only getting numbers. And so, from my perspective, you're giving people something that they can't readily do anything about. And so that's the reason that I don't send it to them unless they have a deeper understanding and they're asking for it and they understand that this isn't something that we're going to be going over. Like, I can't spend the whole session going over numbers because I'll never get to the point of your health.
Right. So, and so would you say that if somebody, because I was talking to someone who had someone send her the tones, and I was questioning her as to, did she take it any further? And she said, no, it was part of the program of whatever she was doing. So would you say that if that person doesn't come back to you with anything more, then you wouldn't go ahead with contacting them to try and encourage them to seek more?
Well, I don't know. So, and I'm only talking from my personal experience. The people that I'm speaking about are already working with me. This just happens to be the modality that I'm using for their healing. If this were somebody that was a particular prospect, then I might contact them. But the people that I'm specifically working with, they're already locked in. And so this just becomes one of the things that we're using along with other modalities and supplements to bring them into balance. So in the case of what you're talking about, I probably would continue, and again, it's a case by case situation, and it really has a lot to do with how you're dealing with people, what your long-term goal is, how you are, whether or not this is a profession, a ministry, or, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But again, if they are not able to handle inner voice, there's no way they're going to be able to handle vitals, comprehensive, and certainly not body systems.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I'll sit with that. Yeah. Thank you.
You are welcome. All right, let me go back. Elizabeth, go ahead and unmute, please.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. Hi.
How are you?
My garden here. Good.
I know it's nice. It looks nice out there.
Yeah, the blackberries back there. I've got billions of blackberries.
Nice.
Billions. So they're almost ripe. They'll be ripe in about a week.
Nice.
So, my question is, I have a client. He, I guess, called Friday night saying, "I'm so sick. I guess it's respiratory." I wasn't up to my game that night. I was really tired too, so I didn't get a full story. But I guess he was taking antibiotics, just not getting better. He was talking about how years ago he had pneumonia, had penicillin, and the penicillin actually triggered diabetes in him, is what he said. So he was taking another round of some sort of antibiotics, just not getting better. I've scanned him multiple times in different ways. He's a landscaper, and herbicide toxicity comes up. And he also is involved with some things he's wondering about mold. And I'm looking at the OHL protocols, and I don't see anything for like a herbicide detox. And I'm just wondering if there's something in there that you would recommend, or just liver, kidney.
No, I would. So the two things that I'm mainly going to recommend for that are liver, kidney, and Opti GI. But both of those things are contained in the soft cleanse. So what Opti GI does is it goes into the GI tract and helps to release toxins. And then there are some extra things inside of the soft cleanse kit that helps to push things out. And so it will cost more to buy them individually, but there is something called soft cleanse kit, and that's what I would recommend absolutely for that. That's what I use for exactly what you're speaking about.
Okay. Because he's going to the doctor again. I said, "Are you sure you don't have pneumonia?" And he said, "Well, the doctor listened to my chest the other day." And so that happened to my nephew. Doctor listened to his chest, and that evening he was in the hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if he should, get a chest X-ray. So something else is going on, and also he had COVID. I was wondering about long COVID too, long haulers.
Yeah.
Would that be the same suggestion?
Well, no, if they have that, you're really looking for mitochondria and you want to help to build up their immune system, and that's just really going to be, that's where frequency comes into play for long term, and for physical. And so you probably want to get inside of there and optimize the mitochondria, the core chromosomes, but be prepared to be in there for the long haul. I'm hoping to have some recommendations for long-term COVID in the next few months, because there are some products that I'm looking at, a couple of homeopathics, but nothing that I have tested in any kind of way that I am ready to put my confidence behind. But I will say that's where long-term Cephi use comes in when you're dealing with that, because it's gonna, very often the system has been so beat down that it needs time to build back up.
All right. Thanks for the suggestions.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Deborah, I am coming to you next. Give me 1 second. I do want to go over here to the comments and get a couple of comments in from people who have left them. Amy says, when you're listening to your own affirmations in mind sync, should you listen through headphones or you can listen to them without a headset? You can listen to them without a headset. However, when you listen to them with a headset, you get the real magic of what's happening because air is not coming in between you and the actual sound. So when you're listening to something through the let's take an analogy that all of us understand: music, whatever kind of music you like. That could be rap, that could be gospel, or anything in between, heavy metal. If you listen to it through speakers, you don't get the same depth of feeling as you're listening to it through headphones, even if they're cheap headphones. And the reason that you don't is because when air is introduced to the equation, then frequencies are diluted in the air. So when it gets to your eardrum, it has less power than it did if it were closer to your ear. That's the only reason. It's not like the headphones are not magical. It's just the frequency reduction happens when it's going through the air. And so the closer they are to your eardrums, the clearer the signal gets to the brain. And the clearer the signal gets to the brain, the better it's going to work because mind sync and affirmations is all about triggering the brain. Music in general is about triggering the brain too. And that's the reason why we have such a visceral response to that. All right. Oh, you like my analogies? Well, thanks. Because sometimes I feel like my analogies make absolutely no sense. All right. Deborah's question is on here. I'm going to skip that. Well, let me just say it. I don't know what you're going to ask, Deborah, when you come on, but can my medications interfere with my frequency readings? Whatever you ask, I want to answer that as well when you get in there. And I'm going to Amy, and then I'm going to come to you. Can depression interfere with the results of the frequencies? Not the results of the frequencies. So the question as asked needs a little bit of clarification. It's not that they would be interfering with the results of the frequency. They might create a new frequency. So depression is a mindset, which is a frequency. And it's a frequency that resonates, in I don't know what the numerical value range of depression is, but it is a set of frequencies that will influence the body, causing the body to produce other frequencies, right? So it's not as though you're going to get skewed results because of depression. What you're going to get are the manifestation of depression on the rest of your frequencies, which is just a different thing. Hope that makes sense. Deborah, please unmute.
Yeah, that was my question about my medication. I take like 4 different medications, and I just want to know, would my medications that I'm taking, because I have to take them, would they interfere with my frequency readings because I'm taking them?
Not your frequency readings, but they will influence your frequencies in general, meaning it will give you an idea of what your frequency is, and the medication might have some actual effect on that. But they don't have anything to do with one another, meaning they don't balance out on one another because one of them is physical and the other one is pure frequency. And so your frequency is not going to affect your medication and the way that it works. Neither will the medication affect your frequency. They're just two different delivery systems in the body. It's not like, sometimes you could take supplements that could have an effect on your medication because the mechanism of delivery is the same. They go in the mouth, they go into the stomach, they've got to be processed by the liver. And because all of those, it's the same mechanism, that's the reason why that. But when you're dealing with frequencies, totally different mechanism, and they don't counteract one another.
All right. Thank you. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Great questions. All right. Let me talk a little bit about Day of Discovery because, again, for those of you who are Solex people, if you're not a Solex person, if you don't have, if you're in here, you don't know anything about Solex, just tune out for 2 minutes. I'll be right back. But I spoke the last 2 years from the stage of Day of Discovery. It doesn't look like that's happening this year. So what I decided to do was still to create a way for us to get together for some live trainings because people have been asking about that. And in doing so, I decided that we will do this every year. So this will be the first annual gathering of us for those of you all who want to participate. And what I'm going to try to do, of course, this is the first year, so this is probably going to be the smallest year, let's hope. What I want to do is to provide a level of training that most people just aren't getting, and do it in person. Because even though we meet here every week, there's something about doing things in person that just kind of creates a whole different energy flow. And for those of you all who are not going to be at Day of Discovery, this will all be recorded, so don't worry about that. And so we will be meeting in the hotel conference center, or the conference center of the guest hotel, and we will be meeting from about 2 o'clock local time. Well, let me just pull this up. We'll be meeting from about 2 o'clock local time to about 7 o'clock local time, and I'll get to that in a moment. So the schedule is still a little bit fluid. The time isn't, but the schedule is a little bit fluid. But this is my plan. We're going to go down a list of my plan. I want to talk about energy. I always talk about energy, but I want to talk about it from the perspective of just understanding it, understanding energy and how it works with the AO scanner and even outside of the AO scanner, and how using inner voice can really be your one-stop shop. I kind of talked about that earlier in this particular class, and many of you you're in the AO Scanner Mentorship course, so you've heard me talking about the AO Scanner, or excuse me, the inner voice, and some of you have taken my course in Solex University, and so you know how I feel about inner voice. It contains everything that you need if you don't want to get bogged down in the details. It contains the report, it contains the medicine, all in one. I want to talk about that, and then how to use it with Vitals Comprehensive and even body systems. For those of you who are struggling with infoceuticals, I want to go into that and talk about using that with the IC Glow Pad. And for those of you who want to take it a step further, I want to do an auricular therapy class utilizing the auricular therapy and body points, utilizing the lasers. So you have the lasers, the Solex lasers. Really, you could utilize any lasers on the ear or any laser on the hands and feet or the body points. But I want to show you in person how that's done in the areas of the ear, and then even more important, when you're using the hands and feet, exactly where those points are, because I'm recommending source points for you to do that. And then finally, I want to do a live muscle testing class where we go over muscle testing and experiment on one another. So the arm, the fingers, the pendulum, and quick scan. Quick scan is a muscle tester as well. But I want to explain what muscle testing is, because there's a lot of mysticism about muscle testing. Ooh, how does that work? What are you tapping into? And really, we're dealing with frequency, and we're dealing with the body's response to it. Whenever you are taking a lie detector, what you're dealing with is frequency changes in the body, and they're measuring it physically through your system. They can measure the frequency when you're telling the truth, and then how that changes when you're not telling the truth. And that's what creates those spikes. You can get that same information from testing yourself with your body, and you can ask your body questions that it's difficult to answer otherwise. And so we'll go over all of that. All right. And so I want to talk about those things. Now, when is this going to happen? It's going to happen before Day of Discovery, Thursday, September 11th, right at the Provo Marriott Hotel Conference Center. For those of you who sign up, you will get, as we get closer and they assign us our room and things like that, you'll get that information. But 2 to 7 local time. But I thought about it like, oh, wait a minute. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to be looking at this virtually. So I put all of the time zones there. If you're international, sorry, go to Google and just put in any of these times and ask Google to convert it over to your time. All right. So that is there. For those of you who are not in our membership, the regular tickets go on sale tomorrow. So most likely, if you are in our sphere, you'll get an email letting you know that the tickets, people are in the membership, you can grab yours now. If you don't have the link to it, just send me an email, reply to any of my emails. I'll get you the link. Or I'll put it in the portal, one of the two, or maybe both. And for those of you who are looking to get your tickets tomorrow, if you are not in our membership, you can purchase in person or virtual. Those will be available. An email will go out to tomorrow, and a link. A link will be on drdarrylwellness.com. So we'll make it available in all of those ways. All right. If there are any more questions, go ahead and raise your hand. I did see some more things down in the comments section. So let me get back down there. Where am I at here? All right. Gracie is watching us over on YouTube. Thank you. Oh, Grace. I'm sorry. I said Gracie. Grace, thank you. In Cephi, inner homeoenergetics, chemical detox, use multi-scan I'm not sure what you are asking there, Grace. If you could, maybe that's not a question. Maybe you're talking to somebody else. I'm not sure. But if you want to reword that, feel free. Joyce, what's your opinion about H2O2 protocol for different conditions and for general health? I know it has benefits and some naturopaths believe in it 100%. Just want your thoughts. I don't have an opinion on it. It's not anything that I have studied, Joyce. Now I'm interested in your opinion on it. Joyce says, I got a funny message saying it wasn't recognizing my question due to large number of participants. Ooh, what's up with that? Oh, the room isn't that full. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just a glitch. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Joyce loves muscle testing. That's great. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Josie. I definitely would like to learn more about muscle testing. Are you going to be at the Day of Discovery? If so, join us. All right, Joyce says, so true about the lie detector. I work with those in my legal career. If you flinch or if you sweat, the facility can read it as an untruth. Yes, you are really just looking at energy shifts. That's all that is. You're looking at energy shifts. You know, you can muscle test your kids to find out if they're lying to you. I might teach you that at the class, but I'm afraid because many of you will use it on your spouses, and I don't want to be the reason for divorce. How much are tickets for non-members? They will be $95 tomorrow, and then in 1 week they go up to the regular price, which is $150. Felisa says, when updating the comprehensive tracker, should we be tracking percents from ideal from the current scan? 40%. No. Let me stop. Go back here. So that 40% on comprehensive has to do with the fullness of the comprehensive scan. So when you're looking at it on the comprehensive view, and in fact, let me go in there so I can actually show you what I'm talking about. All right, let me pull up my latest comprehensive scan. All right. So this is a comprehensive scan, right? And so when you look here on the left, it shows you how far you were from ideal. The initial scan on the right side, I said left, I mean right. The initial scan on the right side shows you how far from ideal you were in the previous scan. And the one next to it shows you how far ideal you were on the second scan. Now, what we've been taught here is that the goal is to get you under 40%. But that's on this scan. So I'm going to explain what this is, and I'm going to explain what she's talking about and why the answer is no. Because if I just say no, it could be very confusing. So let's look and let's see where I got something that's... All right, so my rectum wall. Oh, am I exposing myself today? My rectum wall was 44% from ideal originally, but then it went down to 30%. Thank God. All right, let me see. I'm not in bad shape here. All right, so my liver detail. Here's a good one. It was at 50% prior on the first scan, and then it went down to 30%. So the concept here is to get readings that are under 40%. And when something is over 40%, both times, prior and then the second scan, then you want to look at it a little bit deeper. When I say look at it deeper, it means keep an eye on it for a couple of scans to see whether or not that pattern repeats itself. Because if it doesn't repeat itself, then it was nothing to worry about. It was like going into the house after a party. It was nothing to worry about. If it repeats itself, that's when you start looking at it a little bit deeper. And so if it continues to be that, or if it continues to be extremely high in either way, before or after, that's when you want to look at it. Now, we have a tracking system that allows you to look at your comprehensive scans, or not look at them, track what keeps showing out of balance in the comprehensive. And you will then get a percentage there. That is a completely different percentage. That is showing the percentage of time that your scans are showing, or that is showing, let me say this properly, that is showing you the percentage of time that you have put a check mark in a box. Totally different from whether or not your body is resonating from ideal in a particular scan. And so then you have to start looking at, it still may be problematic, but we're not, utilizing it. It doesn't mean the same thing. And so from that standpoint, I like for people to look deeper if a system in the body continues to show up on scans like 50 or 60% of the time. It's just really a completely different measurement unit. So that's why the answer is no. If that doesn't make sense, let me know. All right, let's get back over here. Deborah says, what is your thoughts on the AO mask? I love the concept of it. I don't have mine yet. I don't know if it's been ordered, but I don't have mine yet because I got a lot of light therapy devices. Most light therapy devices only have one color. And so when they made a mask, there are a couple of other companies out there that made masks prior to AO, but AO did a really good job of putting all of the spectrums of color in the mask, and it looks like it's really, really flexible, so you can use it outside of just being a mask. So a lot of light therapy devices, they're really flexible and they bend, and that allows you to put it around your arm or your knee or your foot or whatever you might be doing. The fact that it has holes in it for your eyes and your mouth means that it fits perfectly in your face, but you don't need to look at it as a face device. You look at it as a light therapy device that also works on the face well, because most devices that are like that, you can't put them on your face because there's no, space for your eyes or your mouth. And so it has the various colors all in one mask. The price point is very, very good. I don't have mine to test, but if you get one, don't think about it as a face device. Use it on the face, but you could use it anywhere on the body. It is not designed to work better on the face at all outside of how it will fit. And that's what makes it a face device and not just a body device. All right. Hang on. No, that wasn't even supposed to go there. Hold on. Come here. Is there a membership office hour session tomorrow at 1 p.m. or is my calendar wrong? No, your calendar isn't wrong. So I feel terrible. Let me go back and face you all head on. So Office Hours is a show that has nothing to do with the membership. It is my ministry of sorts to the public, and it was supposed to start tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, but it's been pushed back a week. Now, I'm hoping that I got all of the bugs out, but assuming everything goes well and it starts 1 week after tomorrow, then it will be every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's just live on YouTube. It has nothing to do with membership. Everybody can join that. And I'm even setting it up so people can, join live and take questions. But it's a completely different concept. Office Hours with Dr. Darryl, it'll be a video blog or a vlog. All right. Kathy says, where did you say you have virtual tickets? Did you say you have virtual tickets for your class on that Thursday before Day of Discovery? If so, do I just buy the ticket today at the discounted price and you send me the invite to the class? Kathy, you are a member of the Quantum Wellness Portal. You don't pay anything for the virtual ticket. Virtual classes are always free for members of the Quantum Wellness Portal. So keep your money in your pocket. Now, if you just want to send me some money, I'll send you I don't even have Cash App, so I can't even do that. You know what? Screw it. Just keep your money in your pocket. All right. Also, the mask has infrared as well as all the colors. That is correct. There are no instructions with the AO mask. Do we use it on clean skin, or can we have serums and creams when using it? So that is a recurring problem. There are no instructions on things. I can't give you any advice on the AO mask. I can just tell you about light therapy devices in general. But while saying that, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, the AO mask ain't it's not special. So everything that I'm saying works in that regard. I don't have my AO mask yet, but some of these light therapy devices, they come with a piece of something like plastic that's over the lights. Those aren't usually the good ones, though. The good ones normally don't come with that, and there's fabric around it. If that is the case, you want to be very careful about how you are cleaning it, and use either a UV light or some sort of a soft towel. And in that case, you don't want to use it directly on top of serums or things in the skin. If there is a thin layer in front of it, again, I don't know because I don't have mine yet, then you can wipe that down. In general, people don't, on most of the good red light therapy devices that go right on the skin, most of the time you don't put any serum or anything on top of that. But of course, it's going to be up to each individual person. All right, Elizabeth said, I've had the AO mask and I've definitely seen a difference in my skin. I have an area of sun damage under my eye and the area is lightening up a lot. I'm happy with it. See, there you go. Yeah, red light therapy or light therapy in general is amazing. All right, I am going to come back to your comments in just a moment, and I'm going to ask Tina to please unmute. Hey.
Hello. Hey,
Hello.
how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. A couple questions. Might lead into the third one, but right now it's just two different ones.
Okay.
First, all right. So my husband is triathlete Ironman, and it's been a while. So his running has pretty much stopped because of a lot of wear and tear on the body. So that leads into tons of muscle cramps, night cramps, Charlie horses, mostly on the calf, but sometimes it's behind the knee and everything. I've tried a couple of different prompts that are in there in the homeopathy section.
Of the AO scanner?
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. I just want to make sure.
And then I've also tried a bunch of, I don't know, holistic concoctions, so to speak. And I say it like that because I've tried quite a few and nothing seems to help. Am I doing something wrong with the scanner possibly? Or am I
Not
missing
necessarily. Tell me what is the goal? Like what is it that you want to accomplish the fastest?
I want him to be able to sleep at night.
Okay. So sleep is a thing. That's the main thing. Now, and is it, what's stopping him from sleeping? I just want to dissect this out a little bit.
The cramps.
Okay, so we're dealing with pain, and we're dealing, and the pain is interfering with his sleep.
Yes, and he just walked in the door from work as I'm talking about him.
I know, and that's what energy does. It
I
draws
agree.
people right on into the room. All right.
Yeah.
So, from the standpoint, when you are, and this goes to anybody who is utilizing the AO scanner and you've been utilizing it and nothing has worked, that is where complete frequency set comes in, because there's so many different frequencies and it's very difficult to know what might be in there. What level of, what do you have? Uh, well, have you taken my courses on like the quick scan? Have you
Yeah.
taken any of? Okay, so
Yeah.
a couple of things here.
Not to replace, but yes.
Okay, a couple of things here. Let's go with complete frequency set. Adding complete frequency set to some of the playlists that you're doing. I wouldn't recommend just doing that alone. I would actually add it to a playlist that you're already doing. Put a couple of things in there that you want to accomplish and that you probably already have, and then just drop complete frequency set at the end, because it will spend a couple of minutes throwing all of the frequencies at the body and then go back and concentrate on specific things. See whether or not that actually will help with things. Does he do anything to help manage the pain right now?
Um, a roll on, like a muscle roll on.
Do you know
Almost
what's
like
in it?
It's a Melaleuca brand.
Okay. So I have
I-
seen a lot of success with the doTERRA Deep Blue, or is that what it's called? I think it's called Deep Blue. I've seen, there is a version of that. You know, you got doTERRA, you have Young Living, you have Revive. There's a version of that with all of them. But that particular, when it gets down into the system, that tends to really help with that. If you can find the ingredients of Deep Blue, some of those essential oils might also be in the scanner. And so that might be a good idea to broadcast those to him. Do you happen to have an IC glow pad, or, okay, do you have transducers?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So in my IC glow pad masterclass, I taught you how to use the transducers in the same way. But with the transducers, there are rife frequencies inside of the quantum wellness portal that you could connect the transducers to your device, whatever it is, and then play the rife frequency for pain through the transducers and then put it on points of it. Does he hurt all over the place or in specific body parts?
His legs.
Okay.
I mean, all over the place in general, yes. But
Okay.
and at nighttime, it's focused on his legs.
Okay. I would then put those transducers on the legs if you could, particularly in any particular area of pain. There are also neurological patches that I use for pain in the Super Patch brand, but they just changed the name. Hang on, let me just see if I could
He does
quickly.
have neuropathy.
Okay. Hang on. What you're in the United States, right?
I'm in Michigan, not too far from you, actually.
Okay. Let me just quickly look while I'm talking to you and see if I can figure this out. Everybody who is holding on, please hold on one more second, because I really like to get people. Sometimes I tell people to ask me later, but I like to get as much of this done here as I can. All right, I think I found it. All right, I need to pull it up on the iPad and then I'll show you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. All right. So this, hold on, why is it doing all that?
Yeah, like he does that stuff too, or he
Does
does that stuff.
this is very interesting. All right, hold on. Let me come out of here for a second. Oh, I see. Now I see why. All right. drdarryl.superpatch.com is the actual site. If you click on aches and pains, you're going to go to these neurological patches and freedom. That's what it is. So, it's interesting because there are specific things that this is designed for, and sleep is a big problem. So you have freedom, you have liberty, and you have REM. Those are specific sleep patches. All of those kind of come into play. So let me just explain what the main one. Well, let me first explain what neurological patches are. In fact, I'm going to bring Tina back here since I'm talking to her. Let me quickly explain what neurological patches are. Neurological patches are patches that you put on your skin, and they are not designed to have, they're not frequency based. They're not putting frequency into the body, and they are not dropping in essential oils. They're not dropping in medication into your bloodstream. It uses your skin receptors to send messages to the brain. So whenever you cut yourself and you have this skin receptors, they immediately go to the point of the cut, analyze what needs to be done, sends the information back to the brain. The brain then organizes the troops. The troops come back and do the job. But all of this happened because of the skin receptors. So when you are dealing with a super patch, you're dealing with patches that have the neurological code to tell the brain to do something. And so going back to these patches, the freedom patch is specifically telling the brain to help with pain. The liberty patch is specifically telling the brain to help with flexibility. The REM patch is designed to help the brain to help the brain tell the body to actually sleep. All right. So I will again, drdarryl.superpatch.com is the link there. That's an affiliate link, just so you know. But you don't pay any more. But it's drdarryl.superpatch.com. If you click on the aches and pains session. Now, if you're only going to get one of these, the freedom patch would be the one to actually get. However, when you're dealing with pain, especially dealing with muscles, all three of these are in that category for that reason. And so what that does is it is a non-medical, non-herbal way because it's just talking directly to the brain through the neurological system. And I recommend it highly. I don't recommend a lot of things, but I recommend those highly, and I use them in practice. So that's one thing you could do. Another thing you could do is, again, add complete frequency set to your playlists. And another thing you could do is to look into, again, it's called Deep Blue by doTERRA, but that's just putting together specific essential oils. So if doTERRA isn't the company that you like, you'll be able to find the equivalent on almost any website. Even Revive has the equivalent to Deep Blue on it. Those would be the areas that I would look into. This is a case that like I was talking about earlier where, okay, frequency is great, but he's past the frequency stage. This has now manifested into the physical. And that's when sometimes we leave the frequency, not behind, but we leave the frequency to grab the physical to work in harmony with it. So
Okay,
that's my suggestion.
cool. Second question is pertaining memory loss.
Mhm.
Almost like Alzheimer's, dementia type thing, but memory loss. So what is it that you were talking about? It was an analogy, I believe, how you say your body connects and doesn't always let you know you're eating. You just ate and it just wants you to eat some more. That's kind of what I'm experiencing right now with my mom. She is going to be 91. Do I just let it go, or do I still try to find a frequency or something to help her not eat so much? No,
When you
she's
say
not.
let it go, you mean just allow her to continue to eat?
Yes.
So
And
you
she
realize now
biggest-
what I'm
biggest-
about to give you is just my opinion. All
Yeah.
right. I'm not even giving you Dr. Darryl's opinion. I'm just giving you Darryl Roberts' opinion because there is no scientific basis for what I'm about to say. This is just where I've come up to in my own life. Especially, I have a mom who's up there in age as well. From my perspective, at a certain point, this is what I've decided to do, everybody, so don't nobody yell at me. From my perspective, at a certain point, their own comfort becomes more important than anything else, especially when there are more years behind them than there are in front of them. So my mom's dealing with a host of issues. I could be that hard taskmaster and say, you shouldn't eat this because of this factor. You know that you should be doing this because of that factor. And I could make the remaining years of her life the most healthy and miserable years that she has experienced. Or I can say, well, this may not be healthy. This may not be the best thing. But if you are happy during these final years in your life, that is more important to me. Because I don't think that on her final days, I will be saying to myself, I wish I had pushed more broccoli into her system at 85 years old. I think that I'll be saying, I'm happy that she was happy, that she was able to live alone as long as she could, and that she was comfortable in those times. I'm not gonna sit by and watch her do something that's going to cause an immediate harm. But how long? Your mother is 91?
In December, she will be.
So how long does she have to eat like that before it's going to take an effect? 10 years? 15 years? 20 years?
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
it's not that I force her to eat anything like that healthy wise. We did cut back on a lot of the sweets to where it's Sprite Zero now instead of tons of Dr. Pepper. But I guess it's the make dinner, make a snack, sit down, she eats, she'll take about 15, 20 minutes to eat. By that time I get it done, I go sit down, work on the computer, try to do something. She's done. She goes and sits down in the living room, and not even 15 minutes later, so I'm starving. And then back into the kitchen to make sure it's.
So maybe, again, this is just me giving you some suggestions. Maybe you could recognize that is I mean, I'm not saying that there are not things you can do, but it wouldn't be like, for example, if I were in that situation, I probably would give my mom a supplement called OptiBrain because it works on the brain's neurological system. That's an Optimal Health Systems product, and I probably would introduce something like that. But if I were to try to interfere, let's rationalize this. You think you're starving, right? You think you haven't eaten or that you really need food. For anybody to tell you can't have it at that point is going to cause you stress. And that's not worth it. So if it were me, I'd probably then start trying to manage that stress. Meaning,
My stress or
hers. Meaning, what foods am I going to have available that are the options for her to choose from? Because I know she's going to be hungry again.
Yeah.
What foods won't be so calorie dense? Are there any vegetables that she likes? Are there any fruits that she likes that I could actually, something. You gotta like figure things out. What's the least toxic thing that I could put in there? And I probably would start looking at it from that perspective. But again, making her happy and comfortable at 91 would be my priority over her gastrointestinal system. And I know that people are going to be annoyed with me for saying that. Somehow your mic, I think, just went completely out. No, I can't hear you at all. But, yeah, no, you're gone. But come back around if you get it connected and you want to ask more questions, all right? All right, thank you. All right, Josie, unmute for me, please. Oh, I think that she had got muted. All right, Josie?
Hi.
Hey. Hey, wait.
First, I want to say, Dr. Darryl, thank you so much for all these amazing calls. From the second you got into Solex and you always had these amazing questions, I always thought he needs to be part of this company because he's a genius. And
you're talking about back when I was causing all sorts of problems in the Facebook group? Josie, hang on one second. Everybody, yes. Wait, I'm so sorry. Everybody who is here, I need you all to just hold on for 1 minute. I have something crazy that's happening. Hold on. All right, go back and unmute. Sorry about that, everybody. Go ahead.
No problem. Okay, so my question was about when you brought up the super patches.
Yes.
So I know the super patch is a different technology than obviously the Cephi dot
Yes.
and life waves. But if I were to choose, what are your thoughts on them, and how are they different, and how do I know which one to choose?
Well, I don't know whether or not you, in the sense of which one to choose, you're going to have to use your own intuition on that. But I do have the answer on how they're different. They're a different delivery mechanism. So life wave patches, along with Cephi dots, utilize frequency that's been imprinted into something that gives frequency to your biofield in general, right? And it's a communication that's happening really around your body, where neurological patches are on your skin and it's more physical. It utilizes your skin receptors in order to take messages back and forth to the brain. So when I'm trying to figure out which one I want to use, if I'm using frequency, we can break this down a little bit more. Let's say you are already utilizing the AO scanner on somebody. You could technically send them the same Cephi that you're imprinting into the dot. With light wave, you could probably mimic the frequencies that are inside of the light wave patches and send them to somebody, but you can't mimic the physical, which is neurological. So if I have access to the scanner, I probably would choose the neurological patches because it becomes a different delivery mechanism, and now I've double teamed the system. But if I didn't want to spend any more money, I might use the Cephi dots or those other patches that I've taught people about buying and imprinting. Again, it is a completely different delivery mechanism that might be approaching the same problem or trying to give the same solution to the same problem. But intuition, muscle testing, so those are ways that you can really get inside of there. Or you can add them all to your quick scan and just run it on the person and choose it that way. There's no real wrong answer. I also will add this. When I'm dealing with somebody who sees frequencies as woo-woo, they're able to deal with the neurological patches better because they ask fewer questions. They see the patch, they see that little design, and somehow that triggers their brain into thinking that, oh, this is better. It's not really better. It's just different.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. We are 14 minutes after the hour. All right, I'm going to go back over here to the questions. See if there's anything else. All right, Joy says the instructions for the mask are on the blog. Oh, all right. How much is the Quantum Wellness program with you? Well, that's a membership. This is a membership. You can find information about it on the website, drdarrylwellness.com. It depends on whether or not you are doing a monthly membership, a quarterly, or a yearly membership. The prices for monthly is $75. Quarterly is $175 every 3 months. Yearly is $575. But that is, that's a whole membership. So all of the information about that, what is included in the membership, will be listed there. Make sure you check that out. That's not the same thing as the AO scanner. All right. Do we pay for the live? Do we pay for the live on Thursday, September 11th? 75 playback will be free as part of our membership. Clarification. So if you want to attend live, and you are a member of the, you have a membership in the Quantum Wellness Portal, the link has already been sent out. You can purchase that. That allows you a guaranteed seat at the live event. The playback is always going to be available to anybody inside of the membership, but also we will be live streaming the classes. So if you are not going to be at Day of Discovery, or if you're going to be at Day of Discovery and you don't want to attend live, then you just log into your portal and watch. Hope that makes sense. You don't have to pay for that. For those people who are not members, there is a fee. All right, so Joy says, it tells you how to clean it on the blog. There you go. All right, Jody says, when I hear leg cramp, I think magnesium. That is excellent advice. Exactly the same thing here. Magnesium is key. All right, Deborah, yes, it is called Deep Blue. Thank you. All right, Felisa says, when I use my 660 band a couple of times for about 20 minutes on each wrist, it seems like I got a light headache shortly after usage. Any suggestions? Should I shorten my time with a few minutes? Yes, you should, and make sure that you are hydrated while it's there. So if you get lightheaded, that is a real thing because your blood is being cleaned in real time. So go ahead and drink some water and do it for shorter times. All right, Irene asked the difference between Lightwave and super patches. I think I answered that. All right, it's telling me no referral found with Dr. Darryl Roberts on super patch. I'm not sure how to order. You don't have to literally just go drdarryl.superpatch.com. If you type it in that way, then you should that. Actually, the doctor has to be spelled out. Maybe that's what it is. Doctor, DOCTOR, DARRYL. But just on the website, just spell it out. Here, just like this. See at the top there, drdarryl.superpatch.com. Joyce is amazing. She always wants to make sure that I get my credit, and I appreciate her. All right. Dr. Janine says, I remember having the same conversation with you. I don't know what conversation you're talking about, but she has so many conversations with me. Dr. Janine says, great is the same age, and she just discovered DoorDash. See, there you go. All right, I agree about Deep Blue Rub being really effective. It is really, really, really effective. All right, Amy says, would patches be good for depression? Yes, but not that patch. So if you're dealing with depression, at the top, you're going to go to stress. And there are two patches there. One of them is joy. That is the one you want for, Joy is the one you want for depression. That's where zooming in is problematic. Joy is the one you want for depression. Peace is the one you want for anxiety. All right. All right. I agree with Dr. Darryl and his approach. Well, hey, you are a winner in my book already just for agreeing with me. Approach the last years being pleasant and overlooking some choices. I did exactly the same thing with my mom. There you go. All right. Will I be speaking at Day of Discovery? I won't be speaking from the stage at Day of Discovery. That is the reason we created our own event. All right. Joyce, it looks like you got there. All right. Deborah, go ahead and unmute.
I just got my Solex ring
Okay.
and the bracelet. I'm not for sure how to use the ring. I mean, could you wear the ring in water, or you have to take it off every night? And when do I start charging it?
What
It
kind
has
of
to
ring
be
did you get?
I got the it's the rubber ring. It's
Okay.
like the
All right.
rubber ring.
You don't,
Yeah.
you don't, that's one of the easier ones to deal with. That's just an imprintable ring. Have you gone into the Cepheid area to use it to imprint?
No, because I just got it today.
Okay. So you want to imprint that. And I probably, since you're going to be using it on your finger, I probably would imprint it. If I were you, I would imprint it like every day or every 2 days. But that's an easy one. You can just wash that if it gets dirty. I mean, it really is. When you imprint something, it doesn't matter what you're imprinting. And what you're doing is you're putting a frequency around it. And then to put it on your body, your finger, your toe, your wrist, what you're doing is you're putting that frequency into your energy field. And that's really all that is. And
And the
so you don't
jade,
even have to
what
worry
about the
about,
jade?
yeah, you don't have to worry about that. And as far as charging it, I probably would put it out in the sun every couple of months. But it really is not a huge deal.
Okay. And what about the jade bracelet?
Jade bracelet is something I probably would charge more often. When I say charge, again, putting it out in the sun, I probably would do that about once a month. But the concept of it is the same. You're just going to use it to imprint whatever frequencies that you pull out of Cephi. Just drop it on top of your device and use it to imprint.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. It looks like we got to them all. For those of you who are joining us on YouTube, welcome. Any of you who are considering our membership, head on over to drdarrylwellness.com. The information on our membership is there. For those of you who are looking to join us in Utah, you will get an email. Well, if you're in the portal, you already have your email. So if you want your tickets, you should probably grab them. They'll be open to the general public tomorrow. And if you're not a member of the Quantum Wellness Portal, then you can purchase your in-person or your virtual tickets tomorrow. Was there anything else that I had for you all? I don't think so. We'll be back for sure next Monday. And I don't know. I'm having an odd week. Oh, no, we got a pendulum class this week, don't we? We do. We have a pendulum class on Thursday for those people who are in the Quantum Wellness Portal. So we will be getting together this week. I was about to say, I kind of feel like I want to see you all again this week, but I will see you all again in the pendulum class on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. I will see all of you soon. And please let me know if I can serve you. Bye.